Yosh. Okay, let's get started. I'm super cold. My bad if I'm weird. Super cold and super tired, man. Jesus. Okay, the ad break is done. Let's get started. Hubba! Why am I down there? What? Let me get closer to the screen. Sorry. Hello, my name is Tamashi, and all I gotta say is Tama Days. I'm a grumpy Latina VTuber who lives in Japan. I'm also a political commentator who commentates twice a week on TamaTalks Tuesdays and Thursdays. On the rest of those days, I do variety streaming. Not today, though. Not today. Today we're going to be talking about some pretty heavy stuff that happened to the Global Sumud Flotilla members. But before I get started, let me say hello to Ali. Hi, Ali. Thank you for checking in. It seems like Stream Elements isn't working because the check-in tracker, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear the check-in tracker. So something must be going on with my notifications as always. So my bad, y'all. My bad. Is the music even on for you guys? No, it's not. Boop. There we go. So yes, no, right? It didn't. Here, I'll just return your points for that. My bad. Somehow. Unbanned request. Wait, who messed with my shit here? I did. I messed with my own shit. Yikes. Yikes, you guys. I have unbanned requests, but how do I... I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Suspicious user. Banned on chat. Someday I'll give you your points back. Now it is. Now it is working. Oh, you mean the music. My bad, my bad. Anyway. Yeah, today we're gonna be talking about some pretty heavy stuff. I wanted to talk about this last week, but you know, I think I ended up... Did I? No, I didn't. I didn't end up skipping stream. I was just really busy and couldn't take proper time to get some sources and a good video to react to. And I was pretty distracted by the fact that Hassan was subpoenaed. Unfortunately by the US government. But like, oddly enough, nothing came out of it because it never really happened. I think they were just claiming, Fox News was just claiming that it happened. Hopefully it doesn't happen though, because that would be a huge violation of our freedom rights as a goddamn American citizens. Fuck. Goddamn American citizens. Now, I feel that my stream is kind of weird. I noticed my bitrate went really low and then really high. So, I'm kind of sus of that for some reason. A subpoena is just a summons to court anyway, so there's time. Yeah, it's a summons to court, and they haven't summoned him. So it's just obviously a fear tactic, and like if anyone watches Hassan, that won't stop him. It's just annoying that this is where America's going. Oh, hello, Zaya36. Wait, it worked for Zaya. Thank you for checking in, Zaya36. What the hell? Wait, Ali, did it work for you? How come it works for El Guapito right here? Damn, that's cold. That's cold of my notice, chat. Or maybe I just didn't notice it? Huh. Are? I guess Guapito's just special. I guess he's just special. Special? What? Special, chat? I never knew. Jesus Christ. But thank you for checking in. Yeah, I mean, America's definitely turning into, I mean, not turning it, it already is a fascist state, but it's leaning more into that, and it's getting worse and worse by the day, especially now that they're directly targeting Hassan. I remember around 2 years ago, he would mock us. He would mock his goddamn chatters. Could you believe that, chat? Could you believe that? He would mock us and be like, the American government won't go after me. It's freedom of speech. I'm a nobody. And look at him now. Look at him now. I always think to that moment, I'm like, you fool. You fool. And now things are getting worse, by the way. He has been banned from the UK completely. Why? Because he's quote unquote anti-Semitic, which means you know, doesn't justify genocide and baby Israel as a country. So that's also terrifying. They don't ban, you know, war criminals, the people who freshly kill children in Gaza, but they ban Hassan. I was gonna talk about that, but I feel like this is more important. Of course, I think on Thursday I'll talk more about what happened to Hassan concerning the fucking UK. But for now, we're going to dive in deeper and basically listen to the testimonies of some of the Flotilla, Freedom Flotilla activists, what they went through during Israeli prison. Now, I will show this video to you guys or whoever's watching. I showed this video about a week or two ago, and I think it's important to show it again. Okay? After they managed to capture all of the boats, all of the flotilla members illegally at the sea, and then illegally sent them to Israeli prison, Ben-Gvir started flaunting, mocking, and basically showing very minimal forms of torture. And by minimal, I don't mean that what they did to the activists was minimal. I'm saying that it's very censored to what they actually did off camera. But, you know, he was basically mocking Palestinians and also mocking the people who wanted to help these Palestinians by delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza. And he recorded himself doing it. It was pretty fucking insane. So we will react to that video. Let me turn off the música a bit here. And let me read this right here. It says, "Mobilize now. We will not be quiet and sit on our hands while the US-backed Zionist regime illegally detains and tortures over 10,000 Palestinian political prisoners and more than 450 international activists with total impunity. Contact the Israeli embassy in each country and your government. Sign the petition. Join local protests and actions. Boycott brands that enable genocide. Follow the BDS movement." So, this was literally right after they captured everyone. And when was this? This was May 21st, Japan time, around 11 a.m. And it says here, update: Israel's abuse of Flotilla activists demand an end to Israel's genocidal policies against Palestine and Lebanon and the release of all activists. So let me read this first before I play the video. After visiting as many imprisoned Flotilla volunteers as possible, lawyers from Adala report systemic violations of due process and widespread physical and psychological abuse against the volunteers, revealing a new pattern of physical abuse deliberately used by Israeli authorities. Okay. And I'm gonna check here and see if you guys can actually hear what the video. My bad, y'all. I couldn't make sure beforehand, but you can hear it. Okay, good.
כל המטרה כאן זה לראות שאין אנשים בתהליך. אנחנו בעלי הבית.
Why did it freeze? Oh my god, I showed the same video as last time, where it unironically it censors Ben Gavir's fucking face, and also it stops at the 30-second mark. My bad, y'all. But basically, as you could hear the music in the background, that's actually Israel's national anthem, and they were forcing everyone in torture positions on their knees while they were handcuffed, and very uncomfortable positions that is known to cause as much pain as possible when being detained. Throughout the videos as well, Ben Gavir was mocking people who obviously were trying to help deliver aid to Palestine, and much more. So right here already, they're saying that the volunteers detailed severe, widespread injuries leading to hospitalizations, dozens of volunteers with suspected broken ribs, and difficulty in breathing, and the frequent use of tasers. So they broke their ribs, and they also tased them? Jesus fucking Christ. They also fucking tased them. Israeli authorities forced volunteers into stress positions, which we saw earlier. They were handcuffed and they were on their knees looking at the floor. Israeli authorities forced volunteers into stress positions like walking while being violently and completely bent forward, or being kept on their knees for prolonged periods of times. Hello guys, how are you doing? Hello Lito, how are you? Please read the pinned, and welcome. In addition, volunteers were subjected to severe degradation, sexual harassment, and humiliation. Several women had their hijabs ripped off by Israeli guards. Again, I mean, if this was America, that would be considered a hate crime because you're disrespecting religion. Hello, Cynthia. Thank you for being thank you for being third. Thank you. We completed all of the check-ins. Gracias. Yeah, the check-ins are working, huh? Wow. They weren't working earlier. Well, I'm really fine. Thanks for asking. That's really good. I'm glad that you're fine. Thank you. I brought in luck. True. Just say your check-in hates me. Listen, I don't know why it didn't work for you. I'm not scamazzing you. My bad. Sorry, guys. I accidentally scammed Ali. But yeah, welcome Cynthia, and welcome Lito, Zaya, and Ali. Enough was a long time ago. We demand immediate sanctions. Exam week, so I'll be lurking, Tama. Okay, thank you for the lurk, Cynthia. Thank you very much. These actions are a direct extension of Israel's genocidal policies in Palestine and Lebanon. Once again, ooh, thank you. Oh, thank you for the lurk. I forgot that was the thing. You've lurked one time. This is your first time lurking. Sugoi. Once again, the genocidal Israeli regime is brazenly subjecting Flotilla volunteers to abuse despite global scrutiny and international attention. But it is nothing compared to what the 10,000 Palestinians political prisoners, including 450 plus children. Yes, chat. In Israel, it's legal to arrest children, over 450 of them. That's insane. Held illegally and without the same international visibility, are suffering amid Israel's impunity and the complicit silence of the international community. So we got a little review of what happened immediately when these Flotilla activists stepped foot in Israeli prison. Immediately they were just humiliated, tortured, and beaten. Now, a lot of the things that I'm speaking of, I can't show you. I was pretty surprised. I didn't think it was pretty bad, but some people, it looked like they had like a stab wound. Like a lot of blood and a lot of bruises were shown in the evidence that you cannot deny that Israel was abusing these activists. So a lot of the things I can't even show to you guys. Not that I'm like, I want to show you guys bloodshed and stuff, but the thing is, we need as many eyes to confirm the reality. Well, this is not just madness, it's completely inhumane. You're right, Lito. You're right. It's inhumane, and it gets worse, honestly. Like, what I'm reading right now doesn't even, like, it's not even the tip of the iceberg. So, here is a better view of Ben-Gvir flaunting and mocking the activists. Okay, this was the video that we just watched, but the video was like censored, oddly enough. So let's do a better job at looking at the evidence here. This guy, he's like the security, what is it, the security minister? What is Ben-Gvir, guys? Can you guys help me on that? Ben-Gvir is in charge of security in Israel. I believe weapon-wise. I don't know what you call it though, but I know he's a security guy. And he literally just documented himself mocking everyone, all of the activists, again, that were trying to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza. And this is by Suppressed News. It says, urgent, oh my god, activists from the global Sumud Flotilla are being attacked, forced to say Am Yisraeli Chai, and abused by Israeli forces under the supervision of Israel Ministers of National Security. Wow, I was asking you guys questions, and the answer's literally right here. My bad, y'all. My bad. I gotta read first. But Israel's Minister of National Security, Itamar Ben-Gvir. A female activist can be heard screaming while being attacked in the background. So I'm gonna zoom in here. I think that I'm sure this doesn't go against TOS, but let's watch this here. Tell me if you guys can hear it. Those are all activists, by the way. So you can see that he's directly talking to Netanyahu. I deeply apologize for not getting the translation here. But from what I remember, is he's literally telling Netanyahu, listen, give these people to me. I'll take care of them. I'll treat them how they're supposed to be treated. He's implying that he wants to hurt these people, and he's begging Netanyahu to let him do it. And in the background you heard someone screaming, but literally he's flaunting. He's not hiding it. You know, this is something that Israel does a lot. Their civilians do this a lot. And yes, I'm going to say civilians. Why? Because everyone is required to participate in the Israeli military. If you don't want to go out there and help commit genocide, you have to go to jail for at least a year. Okay? And not many people are willing to do that. Many people are more willing to go and commit genocide, let me tell you. So this society is compromised at people who think they're defending their country by hurting innocent Palestinians. And obviously we all know by now, if you don't know, you're living under a rock. But right now, Palestine is destroyed. There's still people there, obviously. There's still people there trying to survive. But the damage done, how many lives have been lost, is fair to say that right now what's going on in Palestine has surpassed what has happened or what had happened during the Holocaust. Okay? Well, this is the new level that Israelis have reached, or perhaps they're still at the same level of depravity they have been for centuries. I mean, as a Muslim, I know some of their history. Oh, so you're Muslim, Liru. You're Muslim. What part? Like where? Well, you don't actually. You don't dox yourself. Just share if you can, if you want to, but you don't have to tell me where you're from. No, I don't usually get Muslim chatters, so I'm really happy that you're here. But it really does help. It really does help getting perspectives, especially from someone who is Muslim. But no, this is not, honestly, Lito, this is not new. Like I said, what Ben Gavir is doing in this video is not even showing the tip of the iceberg. It's not showing everything that they do. What's going on with Palestinians, they've been through way worse than this, right? They've been through way worse than this. Also, there's Palestinian prisoners, many doctors, many nurses, many people who are helping Palestinians survive during the genocide. They have been illegally and falsely imprisoned, right? It goes against international law. Yet you have doctors being tortured in prisons. The Flotilla activists, of course, are not suffering as much as Palestinians, but the fact is, it really helps seeing Ben Gavir do this to these activists, because it makes people realize, oh my God, if they do these to white people, okay, if they do this to white people around the world, if they do this not only to white people, but if they do this to Western people who live in the Western world, Sweden, America, Spain, Mexico, whatever, first world countries or countries that are not, not as privileged, if they're willing to do that to these people from these countries, imagine what they do to Palestinians. So it really is sad that right now the people in this video are being harmed and hurt, but it really helps civilians outside of, Muslim territory, outside of the Middle East, outside of Arab nations. It really helps like the average American, because Americans are stupid. But it really helps an average American who doesn't know anything really think hard, like, okay, if they do this to an American from America, I wonder what they do to Palestinians. It literally goes beyond imagination. It really does. It really does. It sucks because like after October 7th, everything that I would see on the internet, I would sometimes almost faint. I would have nightmares. I couldn't sleep. I would just faint. Sometimes when I would drive around the city, if I saw something on the floor, I'd think it was a body. A lot of the things that I saw on the internet that Israel was doing to Palestinians was horrific. Unfortunately, I really hate the fact that now I'm kind of used to it. That's not good. That's not good, because that means that we're all losing our humanity. We cannot get used to what's happening in Palestine, Lebanon, Iran, or Syria, anywhere else that is suffering from Israel attacks. We have to focus on keeping our humanity, and focus on also always talking about what's going on in Palestine, or what Israel is doing. So now that we saw this, I also want to hear testimonies of some of these activists after they got out from Israeli prison. Of course, many of them had testimonies and told us what happened to them in Israeli prisons. There's one specific quote from what this activist had to say. Oh, wait. Well, before that, I wanted to show you like how many people were injured. Like, after they were kidnapped in international waters, they have been hospitalized after brutally tortured by Israeli forces. The fact that they have to be on stretches is insane. Like, that's how badly injured they were. I feel really bad for these people. And again, I can't show you more intense footage because that goes against TOS. That goes against, the rules here. So I can't show you anything graphic. But, immediately after returning to their home countries, they're sent to the hospital. Imagine that. Imagine that. What did they do to them? What the heck did they do to these people? And so, again, now we're going to look at the guy I was talking about earlier. He said something that really surprised me, made me think, and made me scared a little bit. I'm gonna paraphrase here. So this isn't the exact quote, but this is what I remember he said. He said something like, "We were there for a shorter time." Okay, so they were in Israeli prison for a shorter time this time. And by this time, they mean that last year, they went on a flotilla mission, they were kidnapped, and they were in prison. And they stayed longer in prison, by the way. They stayed way longer. This time, they stayed shorter. But he thinks that because they stayed there for a shorter amount of time in Israeli prisons, that's precisely the reason why the amount of torture and abuse increased. Why? Because the Israelis were like, hey, we don't have enough time. Let's do as much damage as we can. So first, let's hear this guy's testimony. His name is Alex. Alex describes the obvious pleasure Israeli guards were getting from hurting us as much as they possibly could. He describes concentration camp-like conditions on the prison boat and treatment magnitudes worse than the last time he was in Kasut after previous intercepted flotilla mission. He saw people shot at point blank with rubber bullets, lost feeling in his hands after they were zip-tied and yanked. He passed out. This is a systemic violence of the IOF and the lengths they will go to continue their illegal siege and continuing annexation of the West Bank. We refuse, we resist, we rise. So let's see what he has to say. Give me a sec, though. Hopefully you guys can hear him. I have my notes here all over the place, my bad, yeah. Okay.
I'm a journalist, and I was on board the Global Sumud Flotilla mission for the last
I guess 40 some odd days at this point, but I just got out of Israeli prison, but it was like a mixture of like a concentration camp on a boat, and then we got transferred to the Kitzit prison again where I had been before, but this time it was just magnitudes worse. It's hard to explain. I saw people shot point blank with rubber bullets. I can't feel my hands because they're all scarred up because they would take the cuffs and they would like yank my hand over and over again, kick me in the ribs like more times than I can count. I passed out at least one time. I was a bit nauseous. And then that's just my story. Like, I have countless other horrifying, worse. Very clearly, the Israeli guards were getting very, like, obvious pleasure from hurting us as much as they possibly could, and the very narrow time frame was they're allowed to do so. I mean, we were detained for less amount of time, but I think that actually increased the amount of violence that was inflicted upon us in that short amount of time before we were released. It was just like pure escalation until the moment we were let go, up to including where, like, as we were being put on the prison bus, they put us back into really tight cuffs for 7 hours, 8 hours. We had to travel in order to take a flight from there. And I mean, literally, as we were leaving the Turkish airline, you could see, I think, like 50 U.S. planes stayed on the same tarmac as these Turkish flights. It was a very bizarre scene.
So yeah, I think that was really scary for me to think about. The fact that this is his second time being detained in Israeli prison for trying to deliver humanitarian aid to Palestine. And he truly believes that because this second time they were there for a shorter amount of time, that actually increased the abuse. Because now, Israel had a time limit to hurt these people trying to do something good. So, I mean, thinking about this, it kind of does, I think it brings people like me, or I mean, I'm sure everyone who cares about this, it kind of brings you down. A lot of us really hope that this flotilla mission would work, that the boats would reach Palestine, that people would get medical aid and food. It makes me sad that instead of that happening, everyone got kidnapped again. And this time, tortured way worse. They were treated terribly. The first time, they hurt people. And the second time, they hurt them more. It makes us all sad, of course. But then I saw a TikTok by someone named Glinny. And this TikTok is called Let's Get to Work. And it really did, inspire me a little. It helped me rethink things. Everything that we do, you and me, is a reflection for someone else. It helps someone else be aware of what's happening. And eventually, hopefully, someone more powerful than us is willing to do the hard work. I mean, we can also do the hard work as well, but we need more people to help us. So I really want to look at that TikTok. Where she was describing all of this. Mate kudasai. I wonder if I can put this in the middle somehow. Okay, that is huge though. That is too big. No, I can't put it in the middle. I can't put it in the middle, chat. I'm so sorry. Yeah, gomenne. Okay. I don't know why. I mean, we do know why. We do know why. Twitter has become shit, so. But this is by Guinea said so, and this is her TikTok. I really appreciated what she had to say here. About why she was happy. Well, not happy that bad things were happening to these flotilla activists, but that it got people talking. So let's take a look at that. Let me zoom in here. Boop. Yosha, let's go.
boats have been intercepted. But before you get disappointed, here is what I think. So all 50 flotilla boats have been intercepted. But before you get disappointed, here is what I think. I think the real mission starts when they get intercepted. Yes, they failed to deliver the aid, but the main goal is to challenge the illegal siege Israel has put on and to expose their crime by bringing the world attention to Gaza. When activists get kidnapped in international water that Israel has no authority over, people start questioning how can they place themselves above international law? Even when the media tries their best to propaganda and not mention international water, they still have to mention where the activists were taken from. There's no way to make it sound acceptable or justify how the IOF can forcibly take people near Cyprus. At the same time, surrounding country like Greece helping Israel commit this crime.
That's the thing, chat. If you guys were watching me react to that, I realized on stream, live on stream, that Greece betrayed us. That Greece was directly working with Israel and helping them kidnap these Flotilla activists. How? By telling Israel the coordinates of where these Flotilla activists were and telling them, hey, they're going to stop at our country because there's a storm coming. Get them. And that's what they did. I realized that live on stream. So everyone, Greece supports genocide, and Greece helped Israel kidnap these people and get tortured, by the way.
We're watching and we're taking notes.
Yep.
When our activists are denied food and water for days, and some of them are very famous people whose faces are all over media, yet they still get assaulted and tortured, and people start questioning if those famous people can get assaulted. Just imagine what's happening to the rest of 10,000 Palestinian hostages. Just imagine. When Thiago and Saif were taken as hostage and labeled as terrorists, don't get me wrong, it was tragic. I called the embassy every day. I emailed, we all did. And I'm really sorry to say this. I was glad to see the conversation on the death penalty bill happening again. And there couldn't have been no other way to have that happening again. Having people watch something, keeping them interested and emotionally invested, helping people understand and actually follow through with an action, that's what this mission did, in my opinion. And this is something that Israel will pay $730 million for. And we did that at a fraction of it. The boats got intercepted, but the mission is still ongoing, in my opinion. We need to keep an eye, keep witnessing, keep reporting, and continue making noise. The activists who are kidnapped, their job is done, and this is where our shift starts.
We're supposed to be making noise. We're supposed to, let other people know of what's going on. And some people are willing to put their lives on the line to, prove that what Israel is doing are crimes. They go against international law, and that they're committing genocide, and that they need to stop that. And we need to convince our countries to help us stop that. There needs to be sanctions. We need to stop sending weapons to Israel. We need to stop sending money, unending funding for Israel. We gotta just stop helping this fake country kill a real one in order to get whatever they want. But the thing is if these activists weren't captured, many people wouldn't have realized how corrupt the Israeli prisons are. That Israel is willing to put anyone in jail, anyone, even 450 plus children, by the way, even children. They're willing to put them in prisons and hurt them. And we saw that with the Flotilla activists. So, the thing is that when there has been many talks already or I mean, at least during this time, people from Israel are claiming, they're saying that all of this is fake news. This is all fake news. Everyone is seeing the reality of what Israel is doing, and Israel and their citizens go, this is fake news. Everything is a lie. The activists are lying. They're the selfie flotilla or something like that. Other stupid shit that, they keep lying about what they're doing. And they're hoping that their baseless lies will continue to trick the public into feeling sorry for them. And we cannot allow that. We cannot allow that. Israel has been on top for since after World War II. After World War II, 1948, Israel has always had people on their side. Okay? Somehow they were always the victim. And somehow Palestinians were always the evil ones. Lebanese people were always the evil ones. Iran was always the evil one. It doesn't make sense because they keep throwing up the same lines, hoping that you and me will believe them without research. Here's an example of that, how easily they lie and how easy it is to debunk whatever they're saying. So this is from
Alexa,
France 24 English. Look at what this is called. It says, posing for cameras. Israel mocks Flotilla activists online as torture rape allegations mount. That's a pretty crazy title, by the way. That's intense stuff.
Again, Vedica Bell with Truth or Fake. Vedica, good evening to you. Many of the activists on the Gaza-bound aid flotilla have returned to their home countries now after being detained last week by Israel as they attempted to deliver aid. There's been multiple accusations of abuse at the hands of Israeli forces. Online, though, Israel's foreign ministry has been taunting the activists. Explain what's going on.
Well, many of the activists on board the global Sumud Flotilla have since returned to their home countries after being detained and then deported from Israel. The flotilla was attempting to break Israel's maritime blockade on the Gaza Strip and deliver food and aid there. And there's been multiple allegations that the activists were subject to abuse, torture, sexual violence, rape at the hands of Israeli authorities whilst held in detention. And certainly multiple foreign ministries, including Canada, Spain and Germany, have reported that their activists did have injuries when they returned home. Now, online, though, Israel is mocking these activists, saying that it is all for show. If we have a look at this post made on its official foreign ministry account, Israel says the miraculous recovery of the flotilla participants all in no time.
And this is insane because this is an official account. This is by the Israeli government, Israel Foreign Ministry. Okay, they themselves, the government themselves, are mocking these activists that they literally just tortured. Literally just fucking tortured. They're mocking them. A government official? That's Trump shit. And it does happen. It's happened way too many times with the US account. The White House account has been posting a bunch of racist AI shit. But Israel's doing that too. It's just pretty easy to see who's fucked up right now. Oh, hello, Zaya36. But then we've also just seen a lot of videos from Israeli citizens saying lionist shit. Basically admitting to the genocide and saying it's good. That's also true. So it's not even like they fully deny it. It's so frustrating. It's true. There's just a lot of evidence online of them admitting to it. Earlier, we saw Ben Gavir literally flaunting that he was going to torture everyone and was begging Netanyahu to let him torture the activists as he was actually mocking them and torturing them.
accuses this activist of posing injured for the cameras and then appearing healthy again in Germany. Now, this isn't the only post that the Foreign Ministry made taunting this activist in particular. It also made this post as well, saying, "It's a miracle. Thank God the flotilla anarchist made a full recovery in no time." And now this activist is Nesrine Zaiter. She returned home to Germany's Hanover airport on Saturday. She told press that she was beaten and attacked by police dogs while she was held in Israeli attention. But certainly these provocative posts on behalf of the Israeli Foreign Ministry also triggered a response from the official global Sumud Flotilla itself, saying that Nesrine experienced a concussion and over 40 bruises at the hands of the IOF, and that a neck brace is standard precautionary protocol, and the fact that she was not permanently paralyzed is not the defense that you think it is. Now,
they cooked. They really fucking cooked. So I actually saw these tweets that were accusing this girl activist, this female activist, I mean, that she was faking her injuries because all of a sudden she wasn't wearing a neck brace. All of a sudden she didn't have a spinal injury and she recovered within a day. Oh my God, she's lying. She's posing for cameras. It's all fake news. It's stupid. And look at this, 18K of lies, Israeli lies. Okay. 18K likes for lies, by the way. And it's true, if someone is suspected of having a spinal injury or a head injury, right here it says cervical injury, you have to wear a neck brace to lessen any more serious injury to yourself. Like they said right here in this reply, let me zoom in. It is standard precautionary protocol. Any competent physician would know this. That's insane. That's insane. It's like saying, oh my God, why the fuck did you check my temperature if I'm okay, if I ended up not having a fever? It doesn't make sense. It's because you're supposed to check to see if you have a fever first. Hello? Dumbass? They're sadistic. They took pleasure in hurting the activists. They really did. They really did. And then afterwards, they claim that they are liars. It's insane. It's pretty fucking evil.
The photo, certainly, of her in that neck brace, well, that is dated from the 21st of May, according to the Associated Press, which took the photo. And it was documented back in Germany when she arrived on Saturday, on the 23rd, where this photo was taken. In a photo on her Instagram, she was not wearing the neck brace, but she does say in a video published on her Instagram that she certainly did sustain a neck injury and that she still had the neck pain from her detention.
Now, Vedika, Israel's foreign ministry hasn't addressed any of these allegations of abuse.
No, Mark, not
of course
directly.
they haven't.
It hasn't. An Israeli prison spokesperson told Reuters that the allegations raised are false and entirely without factual basis. But the foreign ministry, despite sharing those posts mocking the activists, it certainly hasn't commented or said anything on the subject in particular. Now, the flotilla and the treatment of the activists on board has been at the center of a media storm.
Ben Gvir literally did
Israel's
it.
far-right Security Minister Itamar Ben Gvir posted this video on his social media of himself taunting flotilla activists who were detained by Israeli forces. It includes a clip of him waving a flag over the activists as they were hunched over on the ground with their hands zip-tied. Another clip as they lay their foreheads to the floor whilst they are encircled by armed guards. Now, this video led to immediate backlash from multiple countries whose citizens were on board the flotilla, including the UK, Canada, Spain, the Netherlands, Australia. As we know, on Saturday, France became the latest nation to ban Ben Gvir from entering the country as well, calling these actions in the video unspeakable. But this video actually also triggered a response from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Gideon Saar, the foreign minister, who said that Ben Gvir's actions were not in line with Israel's values and norms, and no, Ben Gvir is not.
Liar, bro. Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying. Literally, Ben Gavir was literally calling out Netanyahu. He said, "Hey, yo, Netanyahu, let me kill these guys, bro." And then all of a sudden he says, "This is not in line with our values. We only do that to Palestinians, guys." No, you do that to everyone, bro. You do that to fucking everyone. What are you on? Liars, bro.
The
Liars.
face of Israel. But aside from these comments, they also did not address the wider allegations of abuse, Mark, by Israeli forces towards over 400 detainees from over 40 countries on board the flotilla.
And lastly, for now, Israel's foreign ministry has highlighted a video of the flotilla activists. This is a video showing clashes in a Spanish airport.
That's right. The Israeli Foreign Ministry, the same account, said it demanded an explanation from the Spanish government regarding its treatment of what it calls the flotilla anarchists. And it shared this video dated from Saturday showing clashes at Bilbao airport between a group of Spanish activists and police there. It ended with 4 people arrested. Now, according to state broadcaster TVE, Spanish state broadcaster, the scuffles began when a relative of one of the 6 activists tried to approach them, but a police officer forcefully prevented that interaction. And before that, activists appeared to have blocked the arrivals exits whilst posing for the media, which also led to police intervention. But by sharing this footage from Bilbao, Israel is certainly sarcastically striking back at Madrid, and it also summoned its Spanish envoy for a meeting. It says that it is pointing out the hypocrisy of the Spanish government. It says that Spain is sending its provocateurs to Israel and condemns Israel then for its lawful actions to enforce a legal naval blockade. So that's referring to the actions, the behavior of Israeli authorities in Israel when those activists were detained, whilst at the same time Spanish authorities employed severe violence against the same flotilla participants.
Okay, that's what there's. Oh God, I'm so angry, chat. So basically, we're going to look at 2 angles of what happened in the Spanish airport after the flotilla activists escaped torture, guys. The Spanish activists got off their planes in the Spain airport and immediately were beat up by pro-Israel cops. And then Israel got pissed off and was like, okay, so you guys hate us for beating them up, but then you don't say anything about the Spain police doing the same? What hypocrisy! Okay, bro, that is not a flex. That is not the flex that you think it is. Jesus Christ, like, they can't stop admitting it. They can't stop admitting their crimes. It's fucking insane. They say his actions don't align with them, but they don't take him out of power. That is true. And Kaizen, hello Kaizen, by the way. And Kaizen is talking about Netanyahu. It's not like they took him out of power yet.
So it is certainly making a tongue-in-cheek comment there to strike back at Spain. Now, for what we know for now, the Basque police force has said that it is opening a probe into the incident at Bilbao airport to see if the officers had followed their protocol. But as I said, Mark, this is what we know for now, and we'll certainly keep people more updated as we get more on it.
So, that's the thing. It gets worse, chat. And like we saw earlier, they're claiming that the activists are lying about their abuse, that their injuries are fake, yada yada. Well, they keep complaining that the torture isn't real, right? Yet, when we see how pro-Israeli organizations treat the flotilla activists outside of Israel, chat, it just proves that the torture is real. Hello? If a group of comps that you paid, that you brainwashed, that you have control over, does your bidding outside of your own country, outside of Israel, and they immediately start beating up protesters that literally just escaped torture, doesn't that prove even more that you did torture them and that you're also torturing Palestinians as we speak? Hello? Duh. Duh, the torture is real. How can they even pretend and claim that these activists are lying? It's just stupid. No, because even people outside of Israel are attacking these activists. It doesn't clock out. It's totally getting worse. Look at this. This is what the Spanish police, that apparently is pro-Israeli, by the way, look at what they fucking did. Look. This is intense. Viewer discretion is advised, by the way. This is very intense. So this is one angle. We're gonna look at two angles, okay? Everyone literally is coming back from torture. They escaped torture from Israeli prison, and they are here being welcomed by their families, by news reporters, everyone in the Spanish airport. This is a post by Thiago Avila. He himself had just escaped torture as well. He says, police react with aggression to the activist reception. The same police that acted as accomplices to the Israeli occupation forces 3 weeks ago, by the way, when Israel soldiers intercepted us and kidnapped 181 volunteers in international waters, very close to the coast of Crete, Greece. So these cops, by the way, these police worked with Greece into letting these activists be kidnapped by Israel. Let me zoom in. Viewer discretion is advised. This is some pretty intense stuff. Let me turn off my phone. Thank God I had it with me this time. Look at this, okay? So as you can see, they're just getting off their plane. Even that guy right there is crying out of happiness because he made it out alive from the torture Israeli camp prisons. Everyone's celebrating. Everything's fine. Everyone's happy. Then all of a sudden, look, right there. You see issues right there. The police is there all of a sudden, starts grabbing people. Everyone starts screaming. The camera guy gets pushed out of the way, I guess. I wish I could hear what they're saying. Let me see. Let me put my headset. Damn, these people just keep cheering. So we couldn't see much from this angle, right? But if we look at the frontal view right here, you will see way like how bad it was, chat. So, want to know why Basque police beat the global Sumud Flotilla torture survivors? These are the same cops who've taken 1.6 million, what is that, euros in Israeli security contracts, trained by former Mossad agents and equipped with Israeli surveillance technology. So, Spanish police beat global Sumud Flotilla torture survivors. Jesus Christ. Give me a sec, chat. Imagine escaping torture and then you get beat up by the Spanish police. It's just so fucked up. This is a different angle. Wow, and it lags. Here, let's... There we go. That guy already had a bruise from the last torture he faced, bro. Yeah. Why? I feel like that already is proof enough that if they get beat up outside of Israel, I'm pretty goddamn sure, especially now that we know that they've received over 1.6 million euros, I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious that the torture that these activists are claiming that happened in Israel are pretty fucking real. Like, if literally after getting off the airplane, they're being beat up by fucking police, and you already see they already have old ass bruises on their bodies. We already saw that too. Like, they already had injuries, guys. They already had injuries. And I suspect that some of them got more injuries than the others, which is why there was this guy here that everyone was trying to protect. I'm going to safely assume that he has the most injuries. That's why everyone is jumping on top of him so the police don't hurt him. And yet you're gonna hear someone from Israel who's pro-Israel saying shit like, oh, they're lying, by the way. Their torture isn't real. They're the Sumud Flotilla activists. That doesn't clock out with what we just witnessed. It doesn't fucking clock out. This gives me a bad impression of Spain. I thought they were quite pro-Palestine. Is it just a police force? That's what I said as well, Kaizen. That's what I said. Spain is pretty pro-Palestine. They've been very vocal about being pro-Palestine and have been the only European nation that is willing to push other European nations into giving sanctions against Israel, okay? The thing is, I don't know what happened. I mean, it would make sense that if the police force is used to getting over 1 million euros to be trained by Israel, and all of a sudden that will go away because Spain is literally trying to cut ties with Israel, all of a sudden they're trying to limit that. Maybe it makes sense that these police officers would attack these people. But the thing is, I don't know how the laws work in Spain. I don't know if they can control law enforcement or not. I'm assuming yes, but I don't know. The thing is, I also heard rumors that there was an assassination attempt against the Prime Minister of Spain. So I don't know if they are already losing power because of Israel. I did see some leaders of Spain obviously condemning what happened. So hopefully there's justice. But yeah, this also gave me such a bad impression. The only thing that makes sense is that the people who are still pro-Palestine in Spain are actually retaliating. So this is a form of retaliation because they're going to lose power very soon in Spain, I'm assuming. But I don't know what happened here. I really don't. It's pretty brutal. They went intense. They looked very American to me. I thought this was America just by looking at this shit. This is another angle as well. And this is the Global Sumud Flotilla reporting on it. It says, interconnected global repression. We are outraged by the violent assault by the Ertzaintza Basque Autonomous Police against newly returned flotilla participants at Bilbao Airport. This is what the spread of violence looks like. The result of unchecked aggression green-lighted by world powers. Refuse repression, resist oppression, rise up in solidarity. So, autonomous police, Basque Autonomous Police. I'm going to quickly look this up, chat, because we do need to figure out if they are their own entity. It's divided into three. Ertzaintza. What the fuck is this? Is the autonomous police force for the Basque country, largely replacing the Spanish Policía Nacional and Guardia Civil, being the main law enforcement and security force in the Basque country. And Ertzaintza member is called Ertzaina. I think they're their own entity. What is... Huh. Hmm. Well, they're responsible for maintaining public order. Huh. I guess they have different types of polices. I don't know. I mean, I guess technically that would make sense, but I just don't understand why they beat up these people so severely. Let's read what they have to say here. Bilbao police brutalized our volunteers as a desperate, shameful attempt to undermine solidarity. Yeah, we just saw this, by the way. This is 30 seconds, though. Recap. What? Wait, why are they blurring the officers' faces? What the fuck? Why are they blurring the officers' faces? Activists having just survived days of systemic abduction, torture, and severe psychological and physical violence at the hands of the IOF were met not with sanctuary, but with immediate, targeted police brutality upon stepping onto their home soil. This motherfucker is just hitting this lady. Are you kidding me? The question is why? Well, the police, every police, the police has been bought by Israel. The police runs with money, chat. This is something very common in our countries. Fuck the police, man. Fuck the police. They're the only ones who get to fucking break laws. And if Israel paid these people, maybe Israel just paid these specific people to beat up these activists. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, because Spain has been very pro-Palestine, super vocal, the most vocal of all countries. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Spain has been leading every country into becoming pro-Palestine. I don't know what happened here. I don't understand. But the fact of the matter is that if Israel is able to control these police officers into immediately beating up protesters, activists who are trying to deliver humanitarian aid to Palestine, you know, there's no doubt that they suffered in Israeli prisons. Israel cannot escape the reality of their actions and evil influence around the world. They can't. And now that we have overviewed what happened after the release of the Flotilla activists, let's see more in depth of what they went through in these prisons. So I want to react to as much as I can. I want to react to an intensive interview with one of the Flotilla activists who were tortured in Israeli prisons. Again, viewer discretion is advised. She's going to describe some very intense stuff. I haven't watched this myself, so this will be a live reaction. And
This week on
Mate, and this is by Double Down News. Interesting. I've never heard of this news place before, but this will be our final thing that we react to together. It's pretty long. It's about almost an hour long. I don't know if we'll get through all of it, but I will try to get through it at least for another 30-40 minutes. Let me just fix this here. I don't like that it looks all wonky and stuff. My bad, y'all. Here, let's do this. Yeah. There we go. That looks a bit better, I suppose. I hope. Okay, so let's react to this YouTube video by Double Down News. I was raped by an Israeli soldier. It's the title. Wow. This is gonna be intense, chat. If just viewer discretion is advised. Intense essay. Okay, so if you guys can't handle that, please go watch something else. But we have a duty to, be witness to Israel's crimes against humanity. And that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, I'm gonna start the video. Okay.
Double Down Newswatch, a harrowing in-depth interview on the horror of being detained by the Israelis.
Welcome to Israel. You're going to really enjoy this. He had an American accent and he said, I want to kill someone today and it potentially might be you. I was vaginally raped by one of the male soldiers.
An interview with a man who says the police tried to recruit him as a double agent. He decided to speak to us instead.
Offered to protect me, protect my family, said everything would be okay if I helped them, offered me benefits, financial benefit. We're not saying you can go and commit serious crime, but we can turn a blind eye for certain things. I mean, I thought this only happened in movies.
As the Americans turn their sights on Cuba, we look at conditions on the island and ask, what's the US endgame?
I think there is an irony in that he's now looking at attacking Cuba to distract from his previous distraction. He wants that fix he got from that quick Venezuelan operation.
And has Andy Burnham got what it takes to be Prime Minister? We ask a Manchester journalist who's watched him up close for the last 6 years. This is your weekly look at the world through the eyes of independent media.
News they don't want you to watch. Double Down Newswatch.
Welcome to Israel. You're going to enjoy it. That's what activists from the Global Aid Flotilla were told after they were seized by the Israelis in international waters. The activists all acknowledge that their treatment hardly compares with what is done to Palestinians.
Yep.
But days of horror followed. I spoke to Australian filmmaker Juliette Lamont, who was on both this flotilla and the previous one in October last year. I must warn you, some may find her account distressing. Where was it exactly that the boat you were on was intercepted by the Israelis?
We were south of Cyprus, and I think that we're about 270 nautical miles from Gaza. So we were intercepted in international waters. But at the time, because we saw, what looked like to be sort of 17-year-olds in balaclavas in broad daylight, it wasn't quite as scary initially. And they drove the boat like they stole it, literally. I think maybe it was a 35-minute journey that was really fast with guns in our faces. And then we arrived at the, monumental, monstrous prison ship that a lot of people have talked about. And then that was the threshold of it becoming, a very, very frightening, fearing for your life situation. They knew my name when they dragged me onto the deck. I was cable tied. My ankles were shackled. They put so much water under my face. I had no ability to move. And every time I tried to get away from the water to stop sort of gurgling and drowning, they'd slap me again, stand on the back of my legs. I thought that was my number was up, and I'd only been on that boat for about 20 minutes. I thought that I was going to drown. And that was, that was the welcome to Israel, because that's exactly what they said when I got on the boat. Welcome to Israel. You're going to really enjoy this, is what they said. Other bodies would be thrown onto me. It was sort of like sardined, and you could feel other people kind of, in different, different levels of anguish. lots of screams, lots of thudding. Then I was dragged sort of along a corridor. They looked at my passport. They recognized that I'd been there before, and they told me that he had an American accent, and he said, "I want to kill someone today, and it potentially might be you." And then I was dragged towards what we sort of ended up calling a torture tunnel. It's a shipping
torture
container
tunnel.
that, kind of had an entrance to it where you could vaguely see the silhouette of 5 soldiers inside, and I was pushed inside that space. I was slapped and kicked. I was sexually assaulted. They threw me on the ground. They broke my coccyx, kicked me in the back. And the strangest thing, and the thing that I remember the most is not the blows, and it was not the sort of like the internal sexual assault. It was this really, really big man who was pulling at my hair like a child, like a boy would in a playground, doing it to a girl that he didn't really understand. It was it was really infantile and puerile.
Juliet, I apologise for being intrusive here, but when you say that you were sexually assaulted, it's important this. What exactly did they do?
So they wrenched my trousers and my underwear down, and it felt like that it was I was inserted with a hand. It wasn't a gun. I found out later that other people had guns inserted inside them.
Oh.
I don't think that it was a penis, but there was so much going on. But I was vaginally raped by one of the male soldiers. As I was, you basically, your head's down. They're putting you in a stress position, so your head's down, and your sort of posterior is very sort of available to be, dealt with, and your hands are behind your back, and your ankles are shackled. So, yeah, it's...
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, Ben Gavir, like in the beginning of the stream, we saw that position that they were in. Why? Because Israel themselves posted it. They even put guns in them. Oh, hi, Emil. Yeah, we're looking at what happened to the Flotilla activists. Pretty intense. Viewer discretion is advised.
While you're being sort of jostled, hit, sworn at in the dark. I mean, it's a really discombobulating, horrific experience. Then a door was opened, and I was thrown out into an open kind of area where I could see probably maybe about 60 people on the deck of that boat. And my daughter, Isla, who is 25, ran up to me. My mouth was bleeding. They'd punched me in the face. And yeah, I was just sort of surrounded by love. And I was just really, it was really nice to see that my daughter was all right. And we talked about, how much violence and barbarity she had endured.
Wait, so her and her daughter went. That means they both got tortured at the same time.
Then, before you've even sort of worked out where you are, what's going to go on, what the level of threat is, you hear these howls of torture and pain happening in the place that you've just been thrown out of. And that goes on and on and on and on with each person. And some of them are like the most horrific ones. Some are quicker than others. And people are getting sort of spat out of this horror container with broken ribs. People were tasered in the face.
Wow.
Like some severe injuries. And this kind of look of, because you're coming from a dark space as well as being brutalized and then into the light. I just remember, and I'm a filmmaker, so I remember just this look of these people kind of being like birthed out of hell into this like absolute terror. But then this other look would sort of wash over everybody of like, maybe I'm safe, because they could see that it wasn't a whole load of soldiers. It was, it was the people that they'd been sailing with.
Was there a difference in the way different activists were treated? for example, depending on where they came from originally, whether they'd been on the previous flotilla and so on?
I mean, it definitely felt like people of colour got a bashing, and I know that from the last mission. There was
Well, I mean, of course. I'm sorry, but like they're literally racist. So if if you don't look hella white, they're gonna treat you even worse. That sucks. Fucking hell. And they shoved something in her, chat, by the way. So those who were darker than her had it even worse. Inhumane. Exactly. Exactly. We can only imagine they do worse to the Palestinians. It's so disgusting. They do. They actually do.
definitely a sort of racial aspect to the violence. But this one really did. I mean, there was a woman who was 70. Her bones were broken. It was a bit arbitrary, but everybody was beaten. But yes, some people to extreme levels.
So how long did it take to reach Israel? How long were you on that prison boat for?
I think it was 2.5 days.
Where did you sleep, for example?
You are sleeping inside a shipping container that has nothing in it. It's just steel and it's freezing. Some people were suffering hypothermia. So you are literally using people's body heat, like curled up with people that you know or you don't know to stay warm. People would, sort of demand, bang on the sides of the shipping containers for water, for medication. None of those things ever occurred. Really sort of regularly you'd get this accent, and it was this American accent again, and it would
fucking, what the fuck are US soldiers doing torturing activists, bro? Well, we know what they're doing, but fucking hell. This is why I don't fucking care if you're a veteran, bro. I don't care. This is what you do in the name of America. You're not fighting for freedom. You're fucking fighting for fascism. What the fuck, bro? Disgusting, man. That's so fucking gross. Evil. I don't fucking care if I get hate for this. If you work for the military and if it's working for Israel, you're a piece of shit, man. Like, I really hope that you have a moral conscience, because I don't understand how you can even be American and be doing this shit, man. How many brown Arabs women do you think these vets assaulted, I wonder? More than we can fucking count. Not even assaulted and then killed later, man. That's what I'm saying, like, these soldiers literally love talking about how many women they R-worded and then killed after. And it makes sense that even American soldiers would do that. You know why? Because that's what they did in Vietnam. They took pictures of the women who were crying while they were destroying their houses and killing their husbands in front of them. They take photos of them crying. And then after they took the photos, they would rape them and then kill them later. Jesus Christ.
Be like, get behind the black line, and that was really towards the end of this open space. Maybe it was like 3 meters by maybe 6, and you're literally trying to get 100 people sandwiched in there, and they would say, if you don't, we're going to kill you. And then they'd open fire with stun grenades that was so loud that one of my friends had to have an ear operation, and it looks like he might be deaf. And then the rubber bullets would come, and some of them hit people, direct hits, smashed and broken ankles, and someone had a broken arm from the impact of those bullets. So, it was game on. I think everyone on that boat thought that we were going to be executed, and that's not an exaggeration.
What happened once you got to Israel?
Dragged off the boats, a new level of... I can't remember.
Wow, and that was just on the boat. That was on the boat traveling to Israel. Jesus Christ, bro. They weren't even in Israel yet. So all of this was done in international waters. Again, illegal. There's not one bit of morality to war. I will always look negatively at people serving the military at all. Yeah. It's not worth it, man. Don't join the military, man. Or at least if you're forced to, like, at least do your best to get discharged or do everything in your power to not, torture people. It's insane. I can't believe that all of this was done on the boat and they still had to face more torture after. Especially if you're fighting military, if you're military fighting outside your own country. Yeah, again, she said, and not only her, but many people have said that they heard American accents. Literally, obviously from America, who had joined the Israeli military in helping torturing these activists. Ugh.
I think maybe these guys had black uniforms. It's like they have so many levels of uniforms and sort of, awfulness. Alsatians, I think we're like cable tied again, shackles back on, dragged off the boat onto Ashdod. I'm 5 foot. I'm not very tall. With 3 men holding me in the stress position. My feet were about 1.5 meters off the ground. Thought they were going to rip my shoulder out. Ben Gvir is in front of me. With the cameras, he always does that. He did that last time. Baby killers, Arab lovers, Jew haters, his usual stuff. And then you're processed by different police officers or immigration, strip search, sexually assaulted again by 2 women this time.
Juliet, again, apologies for being intrusive, but when you say sexually assaulted, what do you mean?
So, like, stripped naked, groped, my breasts were groped, my buttocks were fake fingernails. For some reason, the Israeli female soldiers really like acrylic nails. It's just bizarre. And then internally searched when it was just like, what is it that I have? So, but it's not professional. It doesn't feel like it's for any reason. It's just to humiliate you, dehumanize you, tell you that you're an Arab lover, tell you that you're an animal. So that occurred again for me, particularly triggering because I experienced 10 years of child sexual abuse. So you're sort of there going, why is this happening when I'm 55, when I was trying to deliver baby food, when I was in international waters? This is complete, it's really cognitively so hard to absorb.
Did you get any assistance at all from the Australian embassy, the Australian consulate?
Probably not.
Consulate was there, but all they did really was take photographs of us looking vaguely happy, but didn't give us any water, any...
Wow.
Ability to talk to our families, no, even money. You don't have any money, you don't have anything. They sort of strip you of all of your belongings. So really, it did feel like the Australian government, it was kind of performative.
Did they speak to the Israelis at all? Did they bring any pressure on the Israelis in terms of the treatment you were receiving?
We are asking at the moment, because there's 11 of us, and most of us have been sexually assaulted and have broken ribs. My friend has... from blunt force from a gun, has a pulmonary contusion in his lung. My daughter was syringed with an unknown substance. There was 3 cases of that.
What? I couldn't find the source of this, but I remember seeing a news source saying that a bunch of these activists had to test for HIV. Because it was, since a lot of them were raped and sexually assaulted, it was assumed that the Israeli soldiers were trying to harm them by giving them HIV. So the fact that they injected them with something and we don't need... I mean, I guess as of this video, they didn't even know what they were injected with. That makes me very scared. Like, they could be putting diseases in them. For all I know, right? I'd rather die. That's what yeah. And the worst part is like, you know, if you suspect that you were contracted with a disease like HIV, like, you literally need to immediately go to the hospital and try to get as medicated as soon as possible. So that just stresses me out. Just even thinking about it, it stresses the fuck out of me.
We're asking for a meeting with our Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, and as yet he is not consenting to that. And our Foreign Minister Penny Wong has said that she thinks that Ben Gvir shouldn't have posted the video, and that's kind of we're at a kind of yeah, not much is happening.
Juliet, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
More than 420 activists were detained from a total of 39 countries. Australia's is not the only government to have brought very little practical action against the Israelis. Various countries summoned the Israeli ambassador for a telling off. The European Union is discussing imposing sanctions on Israel's security minister Itamar Ben-Gvir. Germany congratulated the many Israeli voices who had condemned Ben-Gvir's behaviour, which the Germans said was incompatible with the basic values of our countries, apparently ignoring the huge amount of evidence that the Israelis regularly rape and murder Palestinian detainees. As throughout the genocide, not one Western government questioned the military and commercial treaties that underpin the Western alliance with Israel.
Wow.
Shams Sadiq is the owner of a cafe in Didsbury in Manchester. In the past few years, he's been regularly picked up by police who allege he has connections to the direct action group Palestine Action. He's never been charged with anything. A couple of weeks ago, police made what he believes was an offer to become a police informant and agent. Rather than accept, he decided to speak to us. First of all, how did your interaction with the police begin?
October 24 first, when my house got raided and my business got raided.
Why did they raid you?
I'm being accused of aggravated burglary and conspiracy to commit aggravated burglary. They believe I'm involved with Palestine Action.
When they say aggravated burglary, they mean Palestine Action actions?
Yes.
How did it move forward from there? Because I think you were picked up by the police a number of times subsequently, weren't you?
So since then I've been rearrested. I had to go back in after, I think, 16 months after to be rearrested for the October 24th incident. And then I got arrested again, in October 25. And then the final one just a few weeks ago at the airport.
You've been picked up.
So I guess the Flotilla story just ended. That was 15 minutes long. Crazy that they try to recruit someone to be a fucking spy, though. But if you guys want to watch the rest of the news watch here, this is by Double Down News channel. Please go check them out and subscribe. Oh, here we go. Terrifying Flotilla account Israel desperately wants to hide. I might check this channel out. Pretty good interviews here. But fucking terrifying, chat. Absolutely terrifying. Just thinking about that. And when they mentioned the syringes of Israel injecting these people with something, we don't know what. I immediately remembered that one article I couldn't find earlier of these Flotilla activists having to take HIV tests. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Did they just inject HIV into these fucking people? Yeah, shit, that's so scary, especially knowing what kind of monsters they are to begin with. Yeah, damn. That, like, stressed the heck out of me, man. Just thinking about it stresses me out. But, Let me exit out these channels here. And so we saw an overview of what happened to a lot of these prisoners. It's very unfortunate, but a lot of these people got raped either by items, by guns, or by the Israeli people themselves. It's disgusting, and it's sad, and it's scary. The thing is that all of this scares us, right? I mean, it scares the fuck out of me just thinking about it. But as of yesterday, there's been this video circulating around the internet claiming that one boat managed to reach Palestinian shores. So let's read this tweet. The global Sumud Flotilla crews were disheartened that they could not reach Gaza, but they will be heartened to know, for whatever it is worth, some of the materials from the boats the genocidal Jewish Zionist Israelis destroyed washed ashore on the shores of Gaza. But even after the most destructive war of elimination against Palestinians in Gaza, the indomitable and unconquerable spirit of the Palestinians in Gaza are still afloat, because Palestine cannot be sunk, drowned, and militarily stormed out of existence through ethnic cleansing, even by the most diabolical of Nazism. So,
stop them. Do you know what this means? The flotilla did it. They got attacked, they got abducted, they got tortured, they got raped because they wanted to bring aid to these human beings. And Israel thought they could stop them. They sunk this ship. And what happens? The ship still reaches them. There are solar panels and hopefully some materials that they can use. But look at just what this means. Israel, with all its military power and all its vile racism and rotten psyche and ideology of ultimate hatred, Zionism, Nazism, and white supremacy, the chosen people, still they couldn't stop the flotilla from reaching the goal of destroying Shitra Hill, the image of them, and still reaching the shores of Gaza. Free Palestine and this entire movement of the fucking Zionism.
So, I saw this earlier today. I was happy that, it wasn't exactly a boat, but it was materials from one of the boats. Hi, I hope you are doing good, Tama. Hello, Snell. Thank you for joining in, and thank you for the lurk. Thank God they got some solar panels. Yeah, hopefully it helps. I know that solar panels are pretty complicated to set up, and it's not like they make energy quickly either, so but I hope they also it's still hope, like this guy said, they did everything in their power to stop aid from getting into Gaza, but some of it, even though it's a little bit, some of it did end up going to shore. The PAL people use solar panels, I think they know. No, yeah, but like the thing is, it's not about knowing how to do it. It's more about being able to make it work because they don't have any materials. So I hope that they do have the materials to be able to make it work. Because if you don't have materials to make it work, it's going to be pretty difficult to make energy. Because Israel has been literally destroying all of their everything that they need to create something to be able to survive. This is official post from the Global Sumud Flotilla again. Oh, this is from Turkey. It says, Sumud couldn't make... Oh, and this is a translation, apparently, from Turkish. The Sumud Flotillas couldn't make it, but hope did. Some food items found on the boats of the Sumud fleet reached the shores of Gaza. And so here is some examples of what they were able to find that reached the shore. I wish it was like the whole ass boats, you know? I wish it was all the boats that reached. Because there's just a lot of people that are hungry, a lot of people that are suffering. But this does mean something. It does. It does. In the end, Israel failed. They failed at trying to prevent aid from going to Palestine. And I'm sure that this will bring hope to the activists who were literally tortured and that escaped torture. What Israel is trying to do to you and me, to all of these activists or anyone who is caring about Palestine, is that they're trying to make us lose hope. They're trying to make us forget about everything, just not care and, you know, focus on ourselves only and our mundane tasks in life while we let Israel just continue to do literally war crimes, crimes against humanity, as long as it doesn't affect us where we can ignore it. When we ignore something, that's literally losing hope. The hope of, you know, making things better for not only you, but for everyone else. So this means a lot. It really does. And our mission should be to, you know, encourage other people to not lose hope, especially ourselves. Of course, all of the boats failed to reach Gaza. Every civilian and activist that were on those boats were kidnapped, illegally detained, and later tortured. Some of them even beat by the police in their own country after they escaped torture. And this may all seem discouraging to me and you, but another reality is that the Israeli lies are being exposed. The members were brave to willingly risk their lives for Palestinians, and by doing so, they forced the world to pay attention to Israel's inhumane prisons. At least some items did make it to Gaza, and that should give you hope. So I hope that you guys continue to fight against our apartheid by talking about this, by learning about this, by demanding your governments to take action, by boycotting, by protesting, and by donating to charities. This has been TamaTalks. Thank you for everyone who joined in, who lurked and chatted. I hope that you guys continue to pay attention to Palestine. Keep your eyes on Palestine. Keep your eyes on Lebanon. Keep your eyes on Iran, Syria, and anyone else that is that is being attacked by Israel. Okay, guys? I'll see you later. I'll see you guys for TamaTalks. Actually, no, today's Thursday, right? I'll see you guys for tomorrow's stream on Friday, where I'll just be chilling. It's going to be a chill stream and relax, okay? Thank you for joining in, though. Thank you for the stream. Thank you, Snow, for joining. Thank you, Emil. Thank you, Kaizen. And thank you, Zaya36 as well. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Zaya36 just donated $25 to the PCRF.
Thank you for donating $25 to the PCRF, the Palestine Children Relief Fund, Zaya36. Gracias, gracias. Gozaimasu. Free Palestine, y'all. Thank you, thank you. You guys are awesome, man. Thank you, Zaya. Let me clap for you somehow. Where's the clapping thing? Applaud, guys. Thank you, Zaya36, for donating $25 to the PCRF. Gracias, gracias. Good night, y'all. Thank you, Emil.
るくらい